Defiance of the sacred law. This movement undertook to rid Palestine of Hellenized collaborators and libertines, who had, it was felt, by their very presence desecrated the temple. According to the first book of Maccabees, the movement first asserted itself probably around 167 BC, when Mattathias Maccabeus, a country priest, was ordered by a Greek officer to sacrifice on a pagan altar in defiance of Judaic law. Enraged by this blasphemous sight, Mattathias, who burned with zeal for the law, first Mace summarily killed a fellow Jew who complied along with the Greek officer. In effect, as Eisenman has said, Mattathias thus became the first zealot immediately after his action in the temple. He raised the cry of revolt, "Let everyone who is zealous for the law and supports the covenant come out with me." Thereupon he took to the countryside with his sons Judas, Simon, Jonathan, and 2 others, as well as with an entourage called the Hazadeans, mighty warriors of Israel, every one who offered himself willingly for the law. And when Mattathias, a year or so later, lay on his deathbed, he exhorted his sons and followers to show zeal for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of our fathers. On Mattathias' death, control of the movement passed to his sons Judas, who withdrew into the wilderness and lived like wild animals in the hills with his companions, eating nothing but wild plants to avoid contracting defilement. This attests to what will eventually become an important principle and ritual, that of purifying oneself by withdrawing into the wilderness, and as a species of initiation. Living for a time in seclusion, here Eisenman suggests, is the origin of remote communities such as Qumran, the first foundation of which dates from Maccabean times. It is in effect the equivalent of the modern retreat in the New Testament, of course the supreme exemplar of self-purification. In remote solitude is John the Baptist, who preached in the wilderness and ate locusts and honey. But it must be remembered that Jesus too undergoes a probationary initiatory experience in the desert. From the fastnesses to which they had withdrawn, Judas Maccabeus, his brothers and his companions embarked on a prolonged campaign of guerrilla operations which escalated into a full-scale revolt and mobilized the people as a whole. By 152 BC, the Maccabeans had wrested control of the Holy Land, pacified the country, and installed themselves in power. Their first act on capturing the temple was to purify it by removing all pagan trappings. It is significant that though the Maccabees were simultaneously de facto kings and priests, the latter office was more important to them. They